starting to cut some jobs down?
Yeah, they've just come out in the last few days saying as part of their business transformation process that they're going to be undergoing in 2018 to 21, they're going to cut about 1,500 odd jobs out of the department. They've said that it's going to be mainly sort of the admin and IT side of it, but there will be job cuts across the board, which is a bit of a concern because, you know, who are they going to cut? And hopefully it's not some of the more experienced ones where the knowledge is known, because we know with the call centre that the knowledge is not necessarily always there.
Is this because we're getting more mechanised and computerised?
Yeah, and they've got their new IT system coming up, and they want to find some money basically to fund it. The government has said they're going to tip in so much, and they're a little bit short, so this is one of the ways they're going to help fund it.
Yeah, 1,500 jobs, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's but if it's coming to sort of the admin head office area, it's probably a good thing. They have said that the regional centres and etc. they've got open are going to stay open. So that's good news for our farming clients. Hopefully they've still got someone nearby they can go and see, even though their offices are pretty rare around New Zealand.
But you've always advocated talk to them, you know, so
yeah,
you do need the people to talk to.
You do indeed, yes. But as long as they keep some of that knowledge on board and keep it flowing through the organisation.
Now your legs will be a blur because they're coming towards the end of the year for most people.
Yeah, well obviously end of financial year's on very close. A lot of things to think about and to do. Some people still got tax returns to file. So obviously the first thing is to get those into your account and get them done, because the deadline is 31 March, and if you miss it, well, they're going to penalise you. So there's a few that have said, oh yeah, I'll hold off, or now's the time to get them in.
This is for last year's,
This is for the last year, yep.
Yeah.
So this is from almost 12 months ago basically.
Yep. They
still haven't got those in. They need to get those in, and they need to start thinking about livestock counts, make sure they've got those done. And they've got them aged and etc. They've got things like what sheep or beef etc. have you killed on the farm for themselves, the animals, all those details that your accountant will need, and which IRD will verify if they come and look at your books. So you've got to make sure they're all pretty close to what they are.
Yeah, because you do need to have a stock take, literally.
Yeah, you do. Yes. Yep. The onus is on you to do it, and you've got to prove that you've done it. A few years ago, we mentioned that IRD had a helicopter up around a farm doing a check on a farm. So they will go to that extreme if they think you really way out. So you've got to be up front. And some people start with their sharing tallies and sort of work from there. You can do that, but you've still got to make sure you count them. And you've got to age them, because that aging is crucial to your final tax bill.
Oh, okay, because this is the 2-tooth, 4-tooth, full
mouth.
mouth.
All those sort of things. So, and they've all got different values under the livestock options. So if you don't age them right, you may end up paying more tax than you have to.
How many times have you said, and Neville died before you, that you don't mess with the IRD because they're not idiots?
No, they know. And they've got stats that feed into behind their systems, and they've got trends on your farm. They've got trends within the industry. So, yeah, don't try and play too many tricks.
Well, you don't play any.
No, well, there's some legitimate things you can do that sort of allow you to move things around, but don't get too clever thinking, oh, I'm just going to do this and no one's ever going to know, because at some point it's going to catch up on you.
Yeah, and I've seen it happen, and you've seen it happen, and you've talked about people who've ended up as a guest to the Queen for some time.
Yeah, they pay a big price, and it could mean the end of everything for you. So yeah, play it safe and be up front.
Talk to your chartered accountant.
Definitely, yes.
Exactly. Now, equipment purchases, where are we at with those?
Yeah, a lot of people, when they sort of looking to buy a plant, and they're looking at the tax benefit side of things, if I buy a piece of plant, what's my write-off going to be? That shouldn't be your only focus. You should actually be thinking of other things like, what's it going to cost per hectare to run that machine, to finance it, etc., compared to what you've got now. And you should really be thinking about whether it's going to give you any more efficiency.
Efficiency, I mean, that's huge. I was talking to a dairy farmer not long ago, and he said that the big dairy farms, it's cheaper to have somebody on a four-wheel motorbike opening and closing the ribbons behind you and before you than for the person who's on the feeding wagon to stop, get off, do it, go through.
Yep.
We're getting that finely tuned.
Yeah, we need to. The farm returns are sort of up and down, so you want to make sure you keep your costs to a minimum, and so you've got to work out these sort of things. It takes time to do it, but if you do it right, the payback is there further down the track, because you are getting a better return than what you would if you just suddenly just go out and buy a bigger tractor or something like that. Just because it looks good doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work better for you.
No, exactly.
And in some cases we've seen it where they've actually downgraded, and it's had bigger dividends for them.
That comes right back into really sitting down with whoever's involved with the property, plus their chartered accountant.
Yeah. So
plus
you
their
should be
farm advisor.
Yeah,
I
so
guess.
everybody should be sitting around the table and saying, look, looking at the budget for a start to make sure you can actually afford something. If you can, what are we looking at buying? Why? What's it going to cost? What's our potential return? Do we really need it in the first place? Just because the neighbour got something doesn't mean you have to get it. And salesmen are pretty
Pretty good.
forceful.
Yeah.
You do that final deal, so it's good to sit down and
Well, the
actually do the
salesmen are on
numbers.
commission, Kerry.
Yes, yeah.
I love that sort of situation where invariably the women in the partnership will say, do you want it or do you need it?
Yes, and they're normally the one that has the voice of reason in the background. We like to get them involved where possible.
For that very reason.
Yeah, they don't just see a piece of metal that, I need it because everyone else has got it or it looks great. They can understand what's going on behind the scenes.
So the take-home message really is, when you're looking at buying equipment, do you want it or do you need it?
Yes, definitely, yeah. And then you've also got to think about whether you're going to buy it outright or lease it. That's the other option to think about.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed.